Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to leave us a rating. The best chats are always the unscripted ones. There are interesting stories all around us, and here's one of them.
Open your eyes, spectacular's right in front of you.
Oh yeah, this is totally unscripted, so we never know where this is going to go.
Dangerous.
This is the unscripted perspective.
Turn the volume
And
up.
here's your host, Phil Parker. Phil Parker. Phil Parker. Phil Parker.
Well, hello. It is another Unscripted Perspective with me, your host, Phil Parker. And of course, I always bring amazing people onto my show. And the lucky one for tonight is Michelle Vandepas. That is the correct pronunciation from our conversation previous. And she's a publisher, she's a coach, a business coach, that is. All the little details about her are in the description of my stream, but we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what Michelle does for a living. Welcome, Michelle. How are you doing?
Wow, thanks. That was quite the intro. All the arrows and the noise, the voices.
Yeah.
It's super cool. I love it.
I try and be
thrilled to be here.
professional, you know.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here.
So let's get this show on the road. Michelle, you're a business coach. You're a TED Talk successful speaker. You've got a lot of experience in the business world. But for my listeners and viewers who are just kind of tuning in, learning about you, give us a little bit of a bio of who you are, kind of what your background is.
Yeah, so I'm one of those entrepreneurs that's had lots of businesses over the years. But what I've noticed is that I sort of always do the same thing. I always end up taking the same role in my company, and that is helping other people do what they do best. Live, and this is going to be fun to talk to you about business, live their purpose and their passion inside their job. And how do they express themselves out into the world? So even when I was like, I had a restaurant at one point, I had a homeopathic lab at one point, I was always working with my customers and my team to help them express themselves. And that's how I got into publishing. That's kind of the shortcut into publishing. And I live in Colorado with my family and 2 dogs and 40 goldfish.
40 goldfish. Holy God. Are you building a football team or something with those things? My God.
I got a big growing dome greenhouse, and they're all in there.
Oh my gosh.
I'm at home because it's like almost the middle of the night for me. So you may hear my dogs.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. It's the middle of the night here. Sort of kind of all the kids are asleep and the grandparents are asleep. So I mean,
oh yeah, that's where I was
it's all good. It's all good. Legitimately, your background and everything, that the business coaching is really something that interests me a lot about your background. What is it that you focus on with the clients and the people that you're speaking with? Because on your website and everything, it really goes through the whole, I suppose the whole side of business that is like from the beginning to the end, as far as how to run it, how to be successful. But what really do you focus on when you're meeting your clients?
Yeah. So usually I'm hired by the business founder, the owner, the president. I work with small businesses, not huge corporations, usually small businesses. I've worked, 10 million business, something like that. But usually when I'm hired, it's because they're either trying to bring it online, because I have a lot of expertise with how to sell something online, or they're burned out. They want to pivot. They want to do something different. So maybe it's not going online, but they know there's something else or something different to do. And I usually start there. What is it that the founder or the president, whoever's hired me, what is it that they really want to do? What are they here to do on the planet? Did they start the business? how can they express themselves inside the business and really do the most good? So that's where I start digging in. Usually if it's financial and those kinds of things, they've got CPAs and all that. We go a little woo woo. We go a little like, what's your purpose here on the planet? What are you here to do? And let's get you aligned with that, because then the business is going to do so much better.
Right. 100%. What are the biggest struggles that you seem to find, or what are the consistent things that you seem to run into when you're dealing with these businesses? Because much like relationship coaching or anything like that, there's the go-tos when you walk into a business and what to focus on. So what would be the main ones that you seem to be seeing a lot lately?
Yeah, so business is changing. Everything's changing, right? It's hard to get good workers. Workers come in, and then if they are coming into the business at all, they want their own schedule. They want to work when they want to work, or hybrid, whatever it is. Customer buying habits are changing, I'm finding. People might take a little bit longer to make a decision. It's a little more discerning. It used to be, way back in the days, they say you had to get in front of a customer 3 times. Now I've heard it's like 17. And then someone else told me it's probably 50, because you just get lost in the noise. So really all of those are what I'm seeing right now. It's just the changing marketplace and the changing climate. And what happens as founders of our businesses, we get lost in all that strategy and tactical stuff and pivoting, and where are we going to go, and how are we going to find our clients, and how are we going to, close more when people are taking longer. And it really just comes back to take a breath. And what does the business stand for? What's the mission statement? Is the team on board with that? Do you all have the same values? Do you have a team at all, or do you just have a bunch of hybrid workers doing their job and it's not really a team? And so that's the focus.
I think that's one thing that seems to be consistent in these talks with CEOs and business people, is that team building is even more important than it was maybe 5-6 years ago, because now to come into work, you're overlooking gig work, which can't be discounted as a form of earning money, because even myself, I've dabbled in the art of gig work, Amazon delivery driving, Grubhub, you name it. You can make $25 an hour on average in some cities, and on your own schedule when you want to go out, not really pushed on timing or being late or any of that stuff. So now for businesses, you have to really give value. Like, it's not just, hey, I give you a wage, you should come to work. It's, I have to offer value to my employees, because if I'm not giving them that value, they can just go somewhere else. It's so easy now. It's kind of scary for a lot of businesses. Right now, I can tell you 10 businesses offhand in a 10-mile radius of this house that I'm in right now that are struggling to find people. And it's not just people, like skilled workers. Like, you can hire a person, but the chances of them being somebody that is going to be productive for you is even more unlikely in this climate, because the people who the talent pool is just kind of dwindling. It's hard to get over that. And I think businesses are really, really struggling with that. What are your tips, I suppose, when you walk into that scenario? Because for me, I actually had this conversation with my wife, who's a manager right now as well. And it's always about manage your team as if you're building them to replace you, because, cross training and show, because at the end of the day, you don't know when that person might be your only option. And if you haven't shown them anything about your business, you're now going to lose business, not only lose customers, but lose business, because this person is going to take up your entire day because you haven't trained them when you had the time. So tell me how you advise your customers in that aspect.
Yeah. So the first thing is, get the founder or the manager aligned. Are they doing what they love to do? Do they want to come into work every day, right? Are they feeling like they're excited about moving forward? And if not, you got to figure that piece out first, because leadership, it does come from the manager, right? So whoever's there. So you got to figure that piece out first. Then I'll give an example just at my own team in my publishing company. That I'm part owner of this publishing company. We have people of every generation working for us at the publishing company, and everybody has a unique perspective. And we have a Gen Zer in charge of communications and company fun. And that does not necessarily mean like pizza parties, right? Because we have hybrid and in-person people. But she does trivia. Yesterday I wasn't in the office, but I came in and I saw that they'd had s'mores yesterday. They brought in like a little grill and they made s'mores for the clients that were hanging out and the people there. It's important to make it kind of fun, where 20 years ago, nobody expected their workplace to be fun. I mean, maybe you'd go out to happy hour on Friday or something, right? I think a workplace, and Amazon and Google kind of set that up a little bit.
Right.
We're expecting more fun. We're expecting to, if we're going to spend all our time at a workplace, it's got to mean something to us. And different generations are going to respond differently. And I think you have to be open to that and understand that. So if you're an older manager, you're the one that has to change, because, right? And that's not always the easiest thing to get across. But there is something about honoring what everybody's looking for in the workplace. Some want money, some want freedom, some want hybrid schedule, right? Some want to everybody kind of wants some purpose these days, I think, some kind of meaning, feeling like they're making a difference. So that's where you got to focus. And you said something else. I will say you got to hire for smart, not necessarily for skill.
Right.
You can almost always train, but you got to hire smart.
Right. And hire smart is a really good tip, because I mean, right now, just because of COVID, the skilled workforce is almost non-existent. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm commanding a wage 20 grand more than what I was making 5 years ago, just because it's not common for my skill set to be available. It's like now people are like, okay, you got skill, you got experience. You're not like, people like you are not out there. So we're going to have to pay a little bit more to get you, or we pay a little bit less and have to deal with training this person how to do the basic knowledge that you already have. So I think the key component to hiring right now is understanding what you're getting yourself into when you hire a said person, and the communication factor that comes with that relationship. Like when you hire someone and if you expect a plug and play situation, then you're kidding yourself, because like you don't pay $15 an hour or whatever your local minimum wage is and expect that person to walk in and just know how to do everything. Now, you can pay $15 an hour and expect someone to know how to do something, but that's going to end really badly for you, because you're not investing in your business correctly if you're doing that. Honestly, if you're paying minimum wage in your business, while I'm not your financier, you're scraping the barrel right now, because people are like, the people who are getting minimum wage are the people who are entry level employees who are quote unquote unskilled at that point in time. So you have to make them skilled in what you need them for. And if you're not willing to invest that time into them, then they're legitimately not going to be the person for you. So this is the misunderstanding that the new corporate workforce has just missed a boat on for a lot of those things. Because me hiring, I can tell you right now, the first thing that I do is I don't look for experience.
Right.
Because I don't want your experience. I don't want your pig-headed attitude thinking you know everything. I want you to walk in and understand that I'm your knowledge. I'm trying to think of a Star Wars reference. I'm Yoda, and you're going to listen to me, and you're going to take everything in. And just like Obi-Wan teaching all the ways of the Force, you're going to literally lap that up and not fight it. You're not going to go, well, that doesn't make any sense. You're just going to be like, I want to do the job the right way and take it that way. So like you said, hiring smart isn't hiring someone with a ton of skill. It's hiring someone that you think can have that skill and has that potential.
Yeah.
Now, that's a skill in itself. Hiring is a skill in itself. It's something that you got to teach yourself, because asking the right questions, knowing a little bit of psychology, knowing how to read people, it's something that is a lost art form, especially considering we've been stuck in houses for 3 years almost. Reading people's body language is almost impossible, because you're seeing the top up. I could be in pajamas for all you know, and it doesn't.
Right.
You
don't see the chaos around here at my house, because I'm not in my office right now.
But that's that's kind of what we're saying is the key element to all of this is, because we've lost that connection to people, we've lost that art form of communication with people. So the old style managers have a bar, and that bar is almost unobtainable for them because they're not being realistic with their expectations.
And I think you have to really honor what younger people, which is almost anybody younger than me, right? Almost anybody in the workforce, but you have to honor what they're bringing. So sometimes you have older people who are like, oh, Gen Zs or millennials or whatever, right? They don't want to work, or they're late. No, they have a different attitude, and you got to listen and learn from them. And they have insights about the world that older people don't have. They have a different insight. They have a different insight about marketing, a different way to understand how younger people buy. So again, it also depends what it is you're selling. But I talk to people of all generations all the time about what they're reading, what they're buying, what they're listening to, how are they consuming content, where do they spend money, do they just shop online, do they go into stores? Like, I talk to people of every generation all the time, men, women, all ages, because we can learn something from every person out there about how money's being spent right now. And that's what the whole focus of business is, right?
Right. It's learning about your customer, but learning about your employees as well. Like if you're hiring the demographic that you are essentially selling to, you're getting a leg up, because you're going to understand the people that you're selling to a little bit more, because you have this person working with you.
Right.
It's very important that and I speak to business owners quite a bit, and one of the things that seems to be a consistent topic is this hiring problem or difficulty right now.
Right.
And I don't see it as a difficulty. I see it as a challenge. And the challenge is that we have to adapt to the surroundings and the culture that we're in right now.
Right.
Now, yes, there are tons of people looking for jobs, but the art that we are now trying to perfect is what we are selling to the people that we're hiring. Like, again, it's value. What value do I have to give you as an employee to get you to want to work for me?
Right.
And on top of that, what value do you have that can bring in that you're bringing into the business? Now, that's a scary thing to say to people, because at the end of the day, it is the employees' marketplace right now, because everybody's hiring. You can go on Indeed or ZipRecruiter or whoever you use as a employment website, and there's hundreds and thousands of jobs. Take your pick, and legitimately, you can get any one of those jobs based off of a resume and a good gift of the gab. Let's be honest. So the biggest thing for an employer is offering the correct things to your employee. Like, what do they want to hear? Money isn't the big seller at the moment. Because money, like I said, gig work is just written that off. I tell you, if Amazon and DoorDash and all of these people figure out how to offer medical and dental, God help us, we're in for an even bigger struggle, because that right there will be the game changer. And it is a scary, scary world. I mean, for people who are moving to America, and everyone asks me why I moved to America, it's because there, at no given point can you honestly tell me there's a reason why you're broke. Because I can walk dogs for $20 an hour. I can deliver food for $25 an hour. I can do anything really. There's not really a thing that doesn't have an app at this point. So it's
Right.
like what is there to stop you from getting a job? And so now employers have this massive chasm to cross when they're writing their posts on Indeed or whatever. It's about being creative in every aspect, not just, hey, I have a job, and expecting everyone to, like moths to a flame, just seem to flock towards it. It doesn't work that way.
I saw something today on the news. I think it was maybe Lord and Taylor in New York City that's been taken over by Amazon. I may have the department store wrong. And they had to retrofit the whole building. And they put in cafeteria, play areas, couches and lounges, and a coffee bar. And like they had to put in all this sort of downtime stuff, which was unheard of 20, 30, 40 years ago, right? Probably even 10 years ago, right? Totally unheard of. Like, people want comfort. They want communication. They want to feel good. They want to talk to their coworkers. You know, we have a jigsaw puzzle in our company, right? Always going. People can just go. It's not everybody's thing, but it gives you a chance to get away from your desk and do something different. You're not glued to your desk all the time. I think, you know, everything that you're talking about, I see. And it really is getting in touch everybody with, they're at this job for a purpose. They matter. They're important. They're smart. Wouldn't have hired you if you're not smart. You have authority to make decisions on certain things. You've got to give some authority. Make decisions to run their own job, right? No matter how far up or down the ladder they are, they have to know what they're allowed to make decisions on, how they make those decisions, so they have some control over their job. The worst thing is so demoralizing. You put someone in a job, they're talking with a client, or they have to make a decision and they don't even know if they're allowed to or not. Are they going to get in trouble? You know, can they make a $5 decision, $100 decision, $1,000 decision? Like, all of those things make a difference and helps the new team member feel welcome, needed, wanted, and empowered to actually do their job.
I think the key word in that whole thing is empowered, because empowerment of your employees isn't just giving them right to make a decision. It's allowing them to feel valued and allowing them to feel valuable when it comes to situations that you're not around.
Right.
So as a leader of a team, if you haven't bestowed onto them the knowledge to make that decision, or given them, I suppose, the guidance that they can make that kind of decision, then you're failing as a leader. So your business is not going to do much better. So, you know, as a customer, when I walk in and I see a person and I have an issue, and automatically they have to go get a manager, and you can tell that managers run ragged. They're all over the place. There's probably 15 customer problems at this point. They don't have a supervisor or anyone that has that, I suppose, empowerment, seeing as we're speaking in that terminology. So it's probably the simplest problem in the world, and the person in front of me could fix it, but because they're told, nope, you got to get a manager,
Right.
they have a key or a passcode or something. You now got a line of people, and what happens with a line of people is you put a group of negative people together, and guess what happens? You
Yeah.
know, I
And,
mean,
and it's like you go to return a pair of shoes or something, right? I'll speak for myself. I go return this pair of shoes, and they got to go get the manager. And all the manager does is come and say, yeah, and pushes the button and it's done. Like, why can't the employee have some decision tree to say, yeah, they look good. The shoes are in the box. She's got the receipt. I can press the button, right? Because then, as you say, the line backs up behind me. It's crazy.
so it's a lot of that is the corporate
right.
corporate thinking. It's damage limitation. It's liability. It's I mean, look at Amazon, for Christ's sake. I get on a regular basis, I get told, don't worry about sending it back.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Like, I get to keep this thing that I didn't want? Yeah, I don't want it. You're good. It costs me more money to process,
Right.
to send back to the warehouse, it costs me more manual labor to process your return. So I'd rather not have it back, and you can have your money back, sir. Like,
Yeah.
how does that ever, like, in business terms, that just tells you Amazon have this market just wiped up. Like, they know exactly every algorithm. I can tell you right now, I drive Amazon Flex, which, for those who do not know what that is, it is the Uber version of delivering packages. Let's put it that way. So you go on, you get a block of time, and you're delivering packages, and you're supposed to start at 7:15, and it says you should be finished at maybe 3 hours later. And so they give you that time slot, and they give you a value of what that time is. So if you don't finish in that time, that money that you're getting kind of depreciates in value of per hour what you're making. So it kind of incentivizes you to get the job done in an expedient manner. But it's not unfair time, right? But if you get there and in 30 minutes you haven't been assigned a route, they send you home and you get paid.
Wow.
And that happens on a regular basis. Yet they're making money hand over fist. They'll send home 10 drivers and not blink. They don't care. And so to say that, that's how much business has evolved. Like, us as customers, we're spending so much money online, and so many things are happening online now that Amazon can literally do that, and it doesn't hurt their bottom line in any way, shape, or form. They're making so much money on the product that they're selling. And remember, they're just a marketplace. So their sellers it's not all Amazon made product. So they're literally making money hand over fist. I always say, if you want to run a business now, maybe different now, because there's a lot that's happened in this corporation recently. But I always say, go to Disney if you want to learn how to run a business, because the wow factor in the experience is how you make money.
Right.
Now, above all other times in the world, experience trumps price and everything else. Because when you're talking about brick and mortar, I can literally walk into a store, take a picture of a product, and find it on Amazon or something else, and order it for my house, and probably be $10 less. So,
and sometimes it feels faster. Sometimes
it does sometimes feel faster. So when you're talking about keeping retail and brick and mortar open, you gotta sell the experience. When somebody walks into the store, you have to sell that experience. I have to feel like I'm a valued customer, which really is a scary thing to say, especially to the customers that are around right now, because we're all, I don't want to say empowered, because that's the wrong word, but
angry,
yeah, angry, entitled, you name it. Why aren't you paying attention to me? I'm the most important person in the room. You need to spend money with me. Or spend time with me, because I'm giving you my money, which paying your wage. And they know this. And COVID has made people realize even more how valuable their dollar is in the marketplace. So they will play that chord all day long in front of you. And so people don't know how to handle that. It's kind of a scary world right now for businesses.
It is. It is. That's why they need you and me.
That they definitely need. Well, they need you more than me, but yes, I agree with that statement. So when you're dealing with your clients, as a coach, you're really just teaching people. I mean, there's a comment on your website from Karen Curry Parker, and literally she says, "You made my business millions. She helped me scale and multiply my impact powerful ways. I've worked with all kinds of high-end coaches and thousands of dollars, but what I got from Michelle in 45 minutes changed the trajectory of my business exponentially." So
I love Karen. We still work together.
So tell me a little bit about that whole relationship and what you did for her, because I think what I want people to get out of this whole podcast and our discussion, which could feel like a broken record for a lot of people, because it seems like that's the narrative right now, is that, it's hard to hire, business is tough, you got to do this, you got to do that. What did you do with her, and kind of walk me through the process of what to expect if I'm somebody who's struggling as a business and I'm coming to you for help, what that kind of transactional process looks like?
Yeah. So really, like I said earlier, we go a little bit woo. We sort of throw out everything. The way to do it is to go for coffee or a walk, go sit in the hot springs, hike a mountain, go swimming, get out and do something different, so your brain is not in your business. You got to get into creative mode. And with Karen, but also with other clients, it's about really thinking outside the box. And you can't think outside the box if you're sitting at your desk looking at numbers. And so with her and with other clients that I can think of, we're looking for other ways to package your product or service that is so different that your clients don't see it coming, and it's such a new, fun, shiny object. Right. And it fixes a need in the marketplace, right? So you have to figure out what your clients, your prospective clients need, and what they want, not what they need, what they want. You give them what they need, but you got to figure out what it is that they want. And then how do you package that in some new way? So with her, it was a whole licensing agreement and a certification of something that she taught. And so with her, it was a service that she taught, and it was a whole certified other people in it, licensed it, had products that went along with it. For somebody else, it was just how we packaged the things in the store and made like bundles. Instead of you go buy one thing at a time, it's like a high-end bundle, and you could go buy this bundle and it came with a consultation. Often I'm in a store and the sales, let's just take myself for clothing. I'll go and I might be like, I don't see anything I want. And, the sales rep's like, oh, is there something I can help you with? Well, no, because I don't really know even what I want, right? But if you think of someone in the store coming to me and being my coach or my consultant and say, wow, I really see your body type here, maybe not say those words, but are you looking for something for work? Or like, ask me specific questions. Are you looking for something for a night out? Can I help put together a couple outfits that I think might look great on you? I would pay extra for that, right? And we're in an economy where people feel like they don't have a lot of time. If they're not going to wait in line somewhere, if they can be ordering it on Amazon while they're waiting in line, go back to their car, go about their day, and then they forgot about it and it shows up tomorrow, right? So you got to have more personal attention. You got to think outside the box, get real creative about what you already have, what your clients really want, and then put something radically different out there in the marketplace. I mean, I'm not talking about pivoting. I'm not talking about throwing away the baby with the bathwater. I'm talking about just adding something to your product line, or packaging it differently, or adding a service with it, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, we can't do that. Oh, we can't. Well, you go out, you go swimming, you hike a mountain, you go away for a couple of days, you experience the creativity mode, and then you do come up with things. You got to really think about, though, what your clients want. You know, they don't want to be put on a diet to lose weight. They just want to look great or feel great.
Right. And it's funny you say that, because a lot of businesses don't realize what they're selling. Because I mean, I don't know. I watch Shark Tank all the time. It's like one of my favorite
I like
shows.
Shark Tank.
Because you know, they're brainy people. They're big entrepreneurs. They know what they're investing in. But often, what's said is, you're not this business. You're this business. Like you don't understand what business you are. And that is a common occurrence when it comes to entrepreneurs, because they don't see the value in some of the things that they're doing. Like the data that they collect, for example, on a day-to-day basis could be so valuable that they're not even utilizing this data. Like, that's why you go into any store now and it's a rewards program. Hey, give me your email, give me your phone number, give me your date of birth, give me all this stuff. And it's like unbelievable. Like there's apps now where it literally gives you money for giving reviews, or telling where you've been, or tracking where you are on your phone. So it kind of sees what demographic goes where and how they shop, et cetera, et cetera. So legitimately, people need to understand their business as a thorough component. For, like, when you say pivot, I completely agree with you, because COVID has forced people into learning how to pivot. There's a lot of businesses that didn't know how to adapt, and so unfortunately they've closed their doors. But the people who knew how to seize the day, I mean, breweries and alcohol manufacturers were making sanitizer because it was the hottest commodity out there. And what's in sanitizer and everything else? Alcohol. So it's learning how to adapt and kind of do these things. And a lot of businesses don't know, like you said, it's as simple as merchandising. It's as simple as building a bundle for your customer. Like bundle deals are not a new idea. They're something that have been around for a long time, but a lot of businesses are not utilizing them effectively. For example, you can go down to your local AutoZone and they do an oil change bundle, for example, right? So you're going down there and they've bundled all the things that you need to do this job.
Right.
Not because they think you don't know how to do the job, but because they want to sell all these items in one go, and you probably will need these. So, and they sell it at a great deal, and it probably is a stupid idea not to go and do the bundle deal, because it's individually it's more expensive. But as a society, the one thing that we are fighting ourselves with always is, I don't know, it's a sale, it's probably not real. Like, they're probably lying to me just to get me to buy the bundle. So you gotta combat that as well. So it's like, okay, all these bundles. So when you say you gotta be creative and you gotta like repackage things and kind of speak to people, I tell you, one thing that I've learned in being back here, because I was in Ireland for 2 years during COVID. So being back in America since COVID, I've learned that people don't want to be sold. They want to be spoken to. They want the information. They want to connect. It's hi.
Patience is done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Phil. What are you looking for? Okay, you're looking for, so AutoZone was ironically was one of the businesses that I've worked for. So, so somebody walks in and they're going, hey, I need a wiper blade. And you're just like, okay, cool. So tell me about what you need from this wiper blade, because you may think that wiper blades are the simplest thing in the world to go and buy, but they're not. They're a pain in the ass. They're
Right. I
literally,
learned that.
you know, they have to fit your vehicle. They go left and right. There could be there could be completely different clips and all this kind of stuff. So you have a communication with this customer. You learn a little bit about them. And one of the things as well is, instead of forcing yourself to communicate and sell to the customer, acknowledge everybody in a group of people. I think that's one thing that salespeople don't do, which they need to, is let's acknowledge everybody in the group. Like,
So, yeah, I can talk about sales.
I
do
mean,
a lot of sales training too.
Yeah, it's one of, like, sales has changed. It's evolved. I can tell you right now, it is not the animal that it was 10 years ago. It is now all about connection. You gotta wear, like, for me, I'm a person that, being Irish, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm going to give you every emotion that I feel about the product. I'm not going to lie to you because it doesn't do me any favors. I'm not going to pretend to know a lot about the product when I don't, because guess what? Google has finished that game.
Right.
Because I can just literally go on my phone and be like, oh, you're lying to me, dude. So it's very important that we're real as people, and that's who customers connect with. So when you walk into a store and you're selling to somebody, the conversation that's had, even though sometimes it feels disingenuous, you have to be the best you can be as far as genuine goes. Like talking to the little girl that's standing with mommy because, you know, she's there, not just ignoring her and pretending she's not there. And then it's game over. And a lot of the time, that's how I win. And that's how I have won in situations, because I am acknowledging everybody in the group. Like, mommy is trying to focus on what I'm saying about a wiper blade, and little girl is just all over the shop, like looking at Hot Wheels, looking at this, looking at that, picking up this. So I end up forgetting the conversation I'm having with her, focusing on her and reining her in, and then allowing mommy to focus on what I'm saying. So it's very important that you're not necessarily having to manage the group. That's a poor term to use, but you're communicating effectively to the people in the group. It's like they have to be able to actively listen to what you're saying, and they can't be distracted by anything else. And that's why a lot of sales calls and phone calls that you get from telemarketers always ask, do you have time to sit down and have a chat with me? Because that is a loaded question right there. Do you have time? No, I don't. I have 2 children. So when in God's green earth do you think I have ever got time? So,
Absolutely.
Like you talk about sales, like what have you seen in the past, like 3 years change when it comes to sales? Because I feel like it's what I'm saying is pretty much on point, but like, what's your perspective on that?
Well, and you're talking a lot about retail situations, and I think everyone's just so burned out and angry and high anxiety, and so it's just it's not always pleasant to be in retail as a consumer or as a worker anymore. However, when I work with other kinds of businesses that are not retail, either online businesses, service businesses, naturopaths, other kinds of businesses. Then we're talking about, often people are scared to sell because they still think of the old school model. And really, the only thing sales is now is communicating with your client, yes, but it is really understanding what it is they want, and do you have that or not? And so, in the coaching world, it's discovery calls, and then discovery calls kind of got a bad name because they turned into high pressure sales calls. But when it started, it was like, let's discover what you need and let's talk about what I have and let's see if it's a match or not. And when you go into it with that approach, there's much less pressure. and it's much easier to sell. It's like, here's what I do. People know what I do. I sell business coaching. I sell book publishing. I do writing retreats. So raise your hand if you want to learn how to write a book. Okay, let's talk, right? If you don't want to learn how to write a book, don't raise your hand. I'm not going to try to sell to you. You know, you've got to figure out what business you're in, like you're talking about. What business are you in? And who is that client? And then is it a match or not? And if it's not a match, move on, and don't move on with grumpiness and I lost that sale, right? Now, I know there are people out there, and I'm in a couple of Facebook groups and social media groups that talk about sales a lot because I learn every day, right? We all learn. And there's, you know, people in insurance and high pressure sales, and they got to meet quota and they're doing the thing. But even in these groups, people are talking about love on your customer, find out what they need, find out what their timing is, ask questions. Don't go in and just sell.
Right.
You're communicating with people. So it's the same thing that I'm talking about. Find out if it's a match. Find out if they actually need what you have, if they want what you have, right? And just go in it talking person to person, and you'll get much farther than if you're like going at it the old school way where you're, you know, doing the old closing techniques and asking 3 questions and hitting all the objections and all that.
Right.
A decade or 2 ago.
Well, Michelle, you know, I acknowledge the fact that you are in part of the world where it's a little bit later. So while I enjoy speaking with you so much, it is very important for me to make sure that you get your brand out there. And one of the things that I wanted to express is your website, michellevandepas.com. Please go and check this stuff out. It is incredibly important to check her out. She's got a lot to offer. There's a lot of things that she has on her website that's valuable. I mean,
you got free courses and stuff, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So
with that said, you know, it's incredibly important just to go check out the website. There's a lot of great stuff on there. There's testimonials, there's products and free courses. There's all this kind of stuff that's really, really important to go check out. michellevandepas.com. It's really easy. If you just put in Michelle Vandepas on Google, everything pops up. So, I mean, she's
now this will pop up too.
Exactly. Yeah. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, and it will be on every podcast forum within the next week. So 100%. So with that all said, I want to thank you so much for joining tonight. It has been an incredibly enriching conversation about business. I really appreciate you and all that you're doing, and hope that you can continue doing what you're doing, and just helping businesses be successful. That has been another episode of The Unscripted Perspective. Thank you everyone for listening, and we'll be back next time.
Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to leave us a rating or review on your favorite listening platform.
Be sure to keep in touch with us on Facebook and Instagram at
The Unscripted Perspective,
or you can visit us at
www.theunscriptedperspective.com.